October 331 BC. The plains of Gaugamela stretch beneath a rising Mesopotamian sun. A cold wind sweeps across the dry soil, lifting dust as tens of thousands of Macedonian soldiers move into formation. Their armor glints in the morning light. Rows of sarissa pikes tilt forward, forming an unbreakable wall of spear tips. Cavalry horses stamp impatiently, their breath turning to mist in the early chill. Alexander the Great sits atop Bucephalus, surveying the field with calm certainty. He knows this terrain, he knows his enemy, and he expects victory. But something new appears on the western ridge, something that has no place in the ancient world. A thunderous mechanical roar rolls across the plains, shaking the ground. Dust erupts as 14 colossal machines crest the ridge in perfect alignment. Their armor glints like polished bronze, but their shape is unlike anything the Macedonians have seen before. No wheels, no horses, no chariots, just monstrous metal beasts charging forward. A modern U.S. Army M1A2 Abrams tank company has arrived at Gaugamela. Terrified whispers scatter through the Macedonian ranks. Men grip their spears, horses rear. Alexander narrows his eyes. He has seen elephants and siege towers, but not this. The machines of a future war. Inside each Abrams, 4 crew members prepare for battle. Radio chatter fills the headsets. Thermal sights flicker to life, painting the battlefield in heat. Computers calculate distance. Turrets rotate with a smooth, deadly precision. Each Abrams weighs over 70 tons, more than 10 war elephants. Its Chabum composite armor is designed to defeat modern anti-tank missiles. Against iron-tipped spears and bronze swords, it is as if the tank is armored in divine skin. The 120mm smoothbore cannon is the tank's primary weapon. It fires APFSDS Sabot rounds at speeds over a mile per second. A single shot could tear through hundreds of ancient soldiers standing shoulder to shoulder. High explosive rounds can obliterate entire cavalry units in a single blast. Mounted machine guns send hundreds of rounds per minute into charging infantry, slicing through shields, armor, and flesh. The gas turbine engine produces a deafening scream as each tank accelerates. These machines move across the battlefield faster than any cavalryman alive. To the ancient world, the Abrams is invincible. To the crews, it is just another strange engagement. Alexander's mighty army. Across the field stands the greatest military machine of antiquity, nearly 40,000 soldiers following Alexander. At the center, the Macedonian phalanx, 12,000 infantry armed with 18-foot sarissas. Their shields lock, their spears project outward, their discipline unmatched. This formation is designed to break armies through sheer power. On the right, the companion cavalry, 3,000 elite horsemen, personally led by Alexander, capable of breaking enemy lines. Behind them, Greek hoplites, Thracian peltasts, Persian auxiliaries, archers, slingers, and scythed chariots sharpened to kill as they slice through enemy infantry. This is a professional army that has conquered the greatest empires in the known world. Their morale is high and their confidence absolute. But today, they face something no training prepared them for. The first shot that broke reality. The phalanx lowers its sarissas and advances. Rows of men move as one, shields locked, spears pushing forward like the teeth of a massive beast. Inside the Abrams, the tank commander watches the tight formation through thermal sights. It is a perfect target. One Abrams fires. The 120mm round whistles across the field and detonates in the phalanx. A shockwave tears through the formation. Dozens of men are hurled backward, shields and spears splintering apart. Dust erupts in a violent plume as bodies collapse. Before the Macedonians can comprehend it, the entire tank line opens fire. Sabot rounds pierce straight through rows of infantry, leaving trails of devastation hundreds of meters long. High explosive shells detonate inside cavalry, sending riders flying. Machine guns roar, mowing down archers and skirmishers in seconds. The phalanx, once a wall of spear tips, collapses under the destruction. Horses panic and bolt, throwing riders into the dirt. Chariots shatter as bullets rip through their wooden frames. Sarissas snap like brittle branches. For the first time in his life, Alexander sees his army break formation. The king who refused to break. Yet Alexander remains calm. He watches the tanks with cold precision. He sees their devastating power and their rhythm. He notices the time between shots. He sees that the tanks hesitate before firing again. He observes their slow turret movements. He notes the supply wagons behind them. He realizes these machines are not divine, but mortal technology, powerful, yet vulnerable to the right pressure. He orders a tactical retreat beyond tank range. His troops withdraw in good order. The Americans hold their fire to conserve ammunition. That hesitation tells Alexander everything. He understands the tanks can kill thousands, but they cannot kill forever. The night strategy that changed the war. As night falls, Alexander transforms his entire army. He abandons massed formations, splitting his troops into dozens of small, mobile groups spread across miles. Tight formations were perfect targets, but scattered units are far harder to hit. He sends cavalry scouts to shadow the tanks continuously. Raiders slip behind tanker trucks and ammunition wagons, setting them ablaze under moonlight. Engineers dig trenches, pits, and camouflage ditches across the battlefield to trap tank tracks. Light infantry attack the tanks all night, not to destroy them, but to exhaust the crews. Slingers target optics with stones. Archers fire flaming arrows at fuel containers. Raiders hurl oil jars at exhaust vents. Fires are lit far from camp to distort thermal sights. Every hour, another raid strikes from a new direction. The tanks fire into darkness while crews sleep in short bursts. By dawn, no tank is destroyed, but every crew is exhausted. Fuel is low, ammunition scarce, and visibility fading under a layer of dust and smoke. Alexander's strategy is working. The hunt for the supply lines. Alexander orders wide flanking maneuvers. Companion cavalry ride miles around the tanks, targeting the soft underbelly of the modern force, fuel and ammo. A fuel tanker erupts into flames. Another is captured before the Americans notice. Spare parts, tools, and generators disappear into the darkness. Without fuel, the Abrams is a steel bunker. Without ammunition, only a shell. Alexander knows this better than anyone. He orders his peltasts to target tracks with stones wrapped in cloth to jam gears and wheels. Engineers roll large boulders onto tank routes. Thracian raiders drag dead horses into choke points to slow movement. The tanks push forward, but the ground slows them, smoke blinds them, raiders harass them, and their supply line buckles. By afternoon, 2 tanks have less than half fuel. One tank's optics are cracked. Another begins overheating. The Iron Giants begin to slow. The first Abrams runs out of fuel. Its engine sputters and dies. The massive machine grinds to a halt in the plain. The crew scrambles to diagnose it, but without fuel, there is nothing to fix. A second tank hits a hidden pit dug overnight, its track jolting violently, snapping a road wheel and leaving it stuck at an awkward angle. A third tank's turret jams from debris thrown at it during the night raids. The line of metal beasts begins to fracture. Alexander seizes the moment. The ancient swarm. Thousands of Macedonian infantry surge forward, not to kill the tanks, to disable them. They rush the immobile Abrams, swarming them like ants on a lion. They jam spears under the tracks. They wedge stones into the wheels. They toss burning pitch onto engine grills. They cover sensors with blankets soaked in mud. They pile dirt around the tanks to bury them up to the hull. They smash ventilation ports with hammers and axes. They set fires under the tanks to starve the engines of oxygen. More tanks slow, then stop. Machine guns click empty, shell racks run dry, fuel tanks sit empty, and thermal sights blur under layers of soot. One tank after another falls silent. The Titan falls, the Empire stands. 3 days after the tanks appeared at Gaugamela, the battlefield is a graveyard of shattered ancient formations and disabled modern machines. The Abrams Company kills tens of thousands, destroys entire phalanxes, shatters cavalry charges, and dominates every direct engagement. But they cannot outrun exhaustion, fight forever without fuel, or hold against the ceaseless adaptation of Alexander the Great. Alexander walks among the silent tanks and wreckage. He has lost thousands, but he gained something more valuable: understanding. He knows these machines could destroy any army, but he also knows they rely on something his army controls: terrain, time, endurance, and the will to survive. The tanks win every battle. Alexander wins the war,